World Cup champion, two-time Olympian, the fastest skier in the world, Cary Mullen.
Success on the World Cup ski circuit is long in coming, but last year Mullen began to see his hard work pay off.
Thanks everyone for coming out. This was another one of my dreams.
By almost 0.3 of a second, the lead is in sight for Canada's Cary. Well, at this point,
when I retired, you guys had cared. Looking back, was it worth it? All of the blood, sweat, and tears, absolutely worth it all the way. That evening, I was doing video analysis with my coaches, looking at myself come down the mountain, and we noticed some interesting components. I saw when I'd hit a really fast, scary section, I'd be coming down and I'd go like this. I'd hit another really fast, scary section, I'd go like this. You might not be up on downhill techniques, but that's not a very good one. It'd be like if you're driving down the freeway and somebody scared you and you jump in the back seat. Oh, who's driving? I said, okay, this might be natural, but it's not optimal. How can I retrain my response to this reaction? So I retrained my body every time I was skiing, and I felt scared. I would lunge forward. Every time I got scared, I would do it in everyday life. A dog would jump out from around the corner, boom, would start barking, and I'd jump at the dog, and then I got really good at it. Someone would jump out from around the corner, they go boom, and I go boom, and they jump back. They'd be all scared. And I started to retrain myself. So when I got on the mountain, and I went to Kitzbühel a couple years later, and I was up at the start, the first training run. The first training run, 8 of the first 15 racers ended up in the hospital. I did my training run, and I was in the start of the race day 3 days later. Then it was race day, and the fog rolled in. The fog was there. A racer would go, and a helicopter would come in. A racer would go, a helicopter would come in. And I said, what are they doing down there? And they said, oh, well, they really want to get the race off, so they're bringing the helicopter in here to get the fog out of here. And I'm thinking, yeah, good idea. I didn't know they were taking them away in a helicopter every time. That's a little selective communication. But I stood in the start unwavering. No, I've trained myself. I'm going to overcome this fear. And I stood in the start, and I kicked out of the start, onto the pitch, off the first down, down past the stall hanging, through the net. I came onto the bottom of the Zeal shoes, the fastest part of the course, and I was bouncing and chattering, and I was loving it. I was savoring it. I was like, yeah, give me more. And onto the pitch and down through the compression, I sailed off the finish jump, and I sailed 88 yards, and I landed across the finish line, looked up, and Cary Mullen, I set a speed record of 97 miles an hour. Thank you. But it felt so good to be able to lunge forward in the face of that fear, and that's what we need to do. I've sensed that when I'm trying to make a cold call or go into a meeting with a boss. But again, lunge forward, boom, train ourselves so we're able to overcome and reach for that next level. That's what enables us to do it. When I set the speed record, ORF Austrian television was showing my run over and over in slow motion. They said, Cary Mullen just set the world downhill speed record of 151 kilometers an hour, 97 miles an hour. Here he is coming off the finish jump. He's got his hands behind his legs. What's he doing? Is he doing it on purpose? Is he out of control? Or is he just crazy? It's interesting to me when people don't know why we're doing something. Sometimes they think we're crazy. But by measuring beyond what seemed logical, I saw specifically where we can improve. When we see specifically where we can improve, that's what prompts innovation. Helps us go to the next level. It's one thing to say, think outside the box, try it a new way, but I think if we measure, we see specifically where we can improve, that's what prompts that innovation for us. We can come up with new, better solutions, new approaches. Now, you're the pros at what you do. So I'm just encouraged to ask you the question, is there a technique? Is there part of your process that you could measure for even better results for you? I was back in bed before the room was dark. I'm fast. I remember watching this guy, watching Muhammad Ali going, this guy's got it. He's got it. I've been working with one of my sports psychologists, Dr. Dan Marisi, and he had a saying, act like a champion to be a champion. And I've been trying to implement it, but it sort of felt funny. Like, I didn't know if it was like fake it till you make it, but when I saw Muhammad, it did click. It's act like a champion to be a champion. Don't fake it till you make it. Portray it to become it. Portray it. The quest for speed. That speed starts with a dream. And for me, it started when I was 6 years old. I remember standing at the top of Sunshine Village, a ski area near Banff, and I was lined up with my 6 ski league friends. 6 years old, and we'd say, ready, set, go, and we skate off down the pitch, and we'd go through the pitch and off the jump and through the compression. We'd go through a mogul patch, and we'd cross an imaginary finish line. And when we crossed it, we'd throw our hands up in the air. We'd go, yeah, I get to be Phil Mayer. My buddy get to be Steve Mayer. My other friend would be Ingemar Stenmark, the heroes of the day. We'd see it, and we'd start to believe it. Isn't it interesting, as kids we call that daydreaming, right? Yet as adults, that's a strategic technique called visualization. It was so real, and I remember the dream alive. 2 years later, I was 8 years old, sitting in our living room. My parents walked in, and my dad said, hey, Cary, where are your old ski boots? And I said, well, they're down in the basement. He walked down to the basement, and I followed he and my mom down, and I said, well, what are you doing with my boots? And he said, oh, we're going to give them to Justin down the way, because he's just learning how to ski. So that way he won't have to buy some boots. I thought for a second. I said, well, do you think when Justin's done with them, we can get them back? My parents looked at me and they said, why, Cary? They don't fit you anymore. And I said, well, someday the Hall of Fame's going to want my first ski boots. So by envisioning that dream together and pursuing it together, we were able to achieve it and have that group dynamic. I couldn't have done it by myself. It was a group victory, and it's something that I know is so tremendous about you as a group coming together to help one another achieve and reach higher heights. I wish you the best of luck this year, reaching new finish lines, reaching new heights. As you go on your way, there's one last thing I want to share with you. It's something that I actually brought that my parents got back from Justin a couple of years later. We got my first boots back. There's so little. I'm really pleased to have this one here today, and I'm honored and humbled to share with you that I only have the one here today because the other one's now on display at the Canadian Olympic Hall of Fame. It is possible. It is possible. Keep the dream alive. Lunge forward and follow your process to success. Good luck. Good luck. Thank you. Well, the leadership stance has some great parallels from skiing to business. In the world of ski racing, you're risking your life. You're putting your life on the line, and with that comes a lot of fear, a lot of hesitations. And I was able to consciously overcome those by lunging forward in the face of those hesitations and built a habit of doing that. And that's something that can be paralleled in the business world. We have fast-changing environments where we need to be able to be proactive, make decisions quickly on the turn of a dime to be able to make that decision, move forward. So it's an application that's transferable from sport to business. Another important part of leadership and business that's really important in skiing is the faster you're going, the further ahead you need to look. And that's important today with the changing environment. We need to take care of the duties that we have today, but we also need to still be keeping an eye out for where the trends are going and where we need to be positioned. Is that we're all champions. We all have a champion within. We all have incredible potential. It's a matter of tapping that potential and maximizing it, being able to reach in and work on the specific areas that we need to focus on to get the most out of ourselves. Thank you. Just before I move on, I want to share one more concept with this. If you can see at the back, it says keeping our actions, our thoughts, and our emotions on track as well. I've been talking about actions, but we can have off-track thoughts and emotions too, can't we? I had a phone call from a gentleman who was excited, took one of our seminar series, and he said, Cary, I had to phone you because I put that card on my computer monitor, and every incoming and outgoing email, and every incoming and outgoing phone call, and every person who walked in my office, I asked that question, is this on track or off track? And in 1 week, I saved 8 hours. I don't know if that system can have the same kind of impact, but I encourage you, try it for a week to see what kind of on-track, off-track actions or thoughts we might have invading us.